it was very important that I still had a life. So I refused to believe that my mobility was the only element of my life because it wasn't, right? So for me, it was very simple. It was like, okay, there's an illness in my body, but it just has that. It doesn't have me. For me, resigning was never an option. With a disability, without a disability, being sick, not being sick, resigning is just not an, because like I said, I wanted to live. I've been asked this so many times. Oh, you have a disability. Are you sure that you can do this? I'm like, yes, I can. Not the way you think I will, but I can. More importantly, I have been asked, are you sure you're not a liability to your organization? Okay, yeah. I think the biggest challenge is people's mindsets of what a disability is or isn't.
Welcome to Inspire Someone Today podcast, a show where we dive into the stories and insights that has the power to create ripples of inspiration in your life. I'm your host Shrikant, and I'm thrilled to be with you on this journey of inspiration. New year, new beginnings. Change doesn't arrive with permission. Sometimes it interrupts, sometimes it hurts, sometimes it forces a reckoning. What matters is what we do next. In 2026, Inspire Someone Today brings you change makers, people who didn't wait for things to return to normal. When life bent the rules, they bent back with courage, care, and clarity. Not from pity, not from anger, but from purpose. These are not stories of survival, these are stories of ownership. New year, new episodes, same human conversations, because that's where change truly begins. And it's an absolute joy to have one such change maker join us for the very first episode of 2026. It's an absolute joy and pleasure to have Soumita Basu gracing this first episode of 2026. Soumita, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Shrikant. I'm just delighted to be here.
We'll jump right in, Soumita. The moment that changed how you saw the world. And it was after losing 80% of your mobility, you kind of landed it into what you're doing today. Before we get in there, at what point in your life you lost a significant part of your mobility? Take us through that phase emotionally.
Yeah. I was around 32, 33. And it was not just about losing my mobility, but let's put it this way. I have been a dancer, I think, since I was born, but I've been trained in it since I was 2.5. And I was very intensely practicing martial arts all through, even when I felt sick, like till the point I felt sick. And so I had a very active physical life. And then for me, the loss of mobility was gradual. So it was like every day I would wake up and for me, it was like, okay, what is it there today? What's working? What's not working? And so it was like, a constant sense of loss. But I think it was also a constant sense of, okay, so what's today? So suspense, thriller, whatever you want to call it. So that was there. So I think that was the emotional part. I think the constant nature of it was more emotional because it was not like, oh, I lost my hand. Now let's figure this out. It's like one day, one finger, the next day, there's something else. The third day, let's say the shoulder was going till one point and the next day it's even a little less. So it's not just the mobility, but the extent of it. Otherwise, from the emotional point of view, honestly, there was not much. It was very much, for me, it was more like, this is what it is. Now what do we do?
Your condition was psoriatic arthritis, and your response to that was, what changed first? Was it the change in your body, like you said, or how people responded to you or reacted to your condition?
So, as the condition started progressing, and by the way, after a while, I did have a miraculous recovery too. So I was in bed for 4 years and then I was walking around, moving around, etc. And it's miraculous because the medical world did not expect it at all. So, but while it was progressing, for me, it was very important that I still had a life. So I refused to believe that my mobility was the only element of my life because it wasn't, right? So for me, it was very simple. It was like, okay, there's an illness in my body, but it just has that. It doesn't have me.
Wow. What a mindset.
Thank you. But and it kind of moved from that point on. Like, so if I can't move, can I still dance? Because for me, that was very important. And everybody was like, oh, you poor thing. Oh, you poor thing. Oh, she used to be the whatever, the life of the party. I'm like, I think I can still be the life of the party guy. So yeah, I mean, for example, see, like we can dance even while sitting and dancing because I was trained in Indian classical. The part of abhinaya is very important in our classical dance. That was very much still on point. So I was like, see, there's one kind of dance that I can still do. And I can just change things my way. Nobody has ever told me you have to do, only if you do this is it called dancing.
So true. You did mention about you could change things my way, and you did go about changing things your way by virtue of starting your own entrepreneurial venture. And there was a reason behind that as well, right? So, where did you first feel the gap between designed for some to designed for all? And what was the trigger for that?
Interestingly, that started hitting me even before I fell sick, though not from the same point of view, not from the disability point of view. I'll take a step back. Earlier you had asked me about like, or rather you didn't ask me in your question, you felt like, when my world changed so my world didn't change. It was a part of things that were happening, but my perspective on world was changing. And some of that perspective also changed. I'll give you one example. I was once traveling alone. This is before I fell sick. And there's this woman who just randomly met me. We don't know each other at all. And she said, what will you do here all alone? My house is right here. She couldn't get in tune with the idea of like traveling alone. She said, just come and have lunch with us. And I went there and it was a very small, like a hut. And I mean, there were bricks around, but it was largely a hut. And she scrambled to get food together. She actually ran towards the river and caught some crab. So I was like, okay, this is the freshest food I can have. But she was really scrambling. I mean, that was a time it occurred, my perspective changed. You can share no matter how little you have.
So true.
And it is living or being or interacting with so many other people who don't necessarily always is a part of our everyday interaction. That's where I started seeing how design is not for everyone. When we board the bus, when we have our documents, those who can read, those who can't read, the street lights for women, not for women, for men, not for men. So I was already noticing that design was not for everyone. The way our cities are built, I mean, I'll give you a simple example. A woman's toilet, you will see a longer queue than a man's toilet. And that's, I'm not talking of a standalone toilet. I'm talking about those, cubicled ones. And that's because for men, their urinary structures that they need take lesser space. So in the same overall square space, the number of cubicles are more. For women, the number of cubicles are less. But it then translates to, oh, women take longer. Oh my gosh, she's gone to the restroom now. She'll hardly come back. No, you have just not given it enough space.
It's a paradigm.
So I had started watching this and started acknowledging it more from a gender point of view, from a marginalized group point of view. As I was growing up, I found things like, just outside our homes, there would be like a few steps and people would be just sitting there chatting away. So the idea of a community building was so easy. Now with all the gated communities, the architecture is so different that doesn't happen. So people don't talk. So people don't interact. And that's one of the first things I also understood about disability, because everyone told me there are hardly any people with disability. I'm like, not what the number says, but probably you can't see them because things are designed in such a way that they are not out there and you're not interacting with them. So that's how I started interacting with design and noticing how and it's because I've had a non-disabled body and a disabled body. I can see how little I go out there sometimes, how little I am visible very often.
And in the context of your own situation, how did that perspective further tune in to kind of, okay, design for some to design for all in what you went about doing?
Right. So living in the 2000s, you would think that, oh, Google has all the answers. So I very quickly Googled clothes that are easy to wear without like a shoulder movement. There was nothing in India and a few options abroad, which was just not suitable for me for cultural and climate reasons. So that was like a big surprise point for me. And I knew I was struggling to wear clothes every day. So why are you trying to wear it alone? I was struggling. And even when I was totally bedridden, which means everybody, like I was depending on someone else, my mom mainly, we both struggled. We had such a harrowing time because uh, it was so painful and she was handling a adult grown body, you know? So we just wanted a design that's easier. And I thought it's available because I thought Google has all the answers. But now,
Wasn't the case. And at this point in time, Somita, what made you to choose agency over resignation? Saying, okay, this is not done.
I guess you can call it a choice, but it was not like a sitting in contemplation. It's more, for me, resigning was never an option. With a disability, without a disability, being sick, not being sick, resigning is just not in, because like I said, I wanted to live.
That was your mental construct. Lot many people, particularly amongst our listener base, if somebody were to kind of go through the challenge that they have gone through, and anybody for that matter, it's very easy to kind of sit back, resign to it, play the victim card, or say that why me kind of stuff. But you never chose either of these because that is how you're kind of programmed as an individual.
See, I'm a very practical person. So my first question was, okay, this is what I have. So what is it affecting?
Mm-hmm.
And I say it's a part of my life. So I was like, why am I giving it the rest of my life? So it's affecting, let's say, 20% of my life, for example. In terms of mobility, it's affecting over 90% at that time. But in terms of life, maybe 20%. But why will I gift it the rest of the 80%, right? Like I need that for myself. And the why me thing, actually a lot of people started asking, oh, but you're such a nice person. Why did that happen to you? I said, thank you for at least acknowledging I'm a nice person. So let's start there. But if I have to ask that question, then I have to have an answer, again, a very practical point of view. If not me, then who? Like, do I have a good candidate for it? Can I go to the list and say, hey, you got the wrong person. That's the right person, right? I couldn't think of anyone. So that why me question did not make sense to me.
I love the attitude that you have, that you wear upon your sleeve. And so this entrepreneurial journey that you took on, did you face a resistance of why we went down that path, and what was the resistance of being an entrepreneur?
See, I think the journey of an entrepreneur is very exciting, but also very difficult, all at the same time. And for other people to understand what it is to be an entrepreneur with a disability, that is the part which is most challenging. Because, it's simple things like, oh, people can do this in 2 days. I'm like, yeah, not me. And this is the reason for that. So, for example, it's so quick for people to go and get some raw materials. For example, you go to the wholesale market, you walk yourself out, you get, etc., whatever you need. And then from that point on, you take something. But for me to get access to that, I had to devise an entire new plan. So I had to be, people say, oh, your dresses are so innovative. I said, welcome to my processes that are even more innovative because I have to create them every day almost. And since we, of course, learn from each other, our peers, but the learning group from other entrepreneurs is so, with a disability, is not, they're not as many. So even your learning curve is much higher.
And this wanting to be an entrepreneur, was the seed there right from your, say, childhood days or your growing up years, or it happened because condition pushed you to a place and you kind of brought in what you wanted to do from a design perspective, and both of that kind of came together at the same time?
I think all my life I was a bit of an intrapreneurial person. Like, I was entrepreneurial enough, but not really building something and starting things off from that point of view. Like there was always someone else who was helping me with it. From that point, actually, when I was 30, I went for my master's, my second master's in the Netherlands. And just before I took off, I also decided that this will be the next 2 years a deciding factor of what I really do want to do. Like, how do I pull together my learning of the last 8-9 years and, take it forward? So entrepreneurship was one of them, but it was like, I wasn't charged with it. Like, it was not like that's my only option. But with my illness and the fact that I had the solution, the clothing solution, the dressing solution for so many people, I just thought I have to do this.
So, for the benefit of our listeners, would be helpful if you're okay to share what your condition is all about, and how can one be aware of something like this? What kind of precautions or what kind of awareness one can have to even know that such a condition can kind of come through?
So mine is an autoimmune illness, and it's called psoriatic arthritis. But even now, the doctors, after all these years, nearly 15 years, doctors are still like, we are not 100% sure if it's a psoriatic arthritis. We're 100% sure that it's an autoimmune disorder. And they would always say, for most people, it is progressive. But I have been able to reverse it as well. And I have been able to walk when I was not expected to walk. I have been able to climb steps when doctors thought I will be totally only be in a wheelchair and my bed, and that's it. So what helped me was two things. One is that every time I asked the doctors, why do you think I can't get better? They kept saying, because we don't know how to get you better. We don't have an answer to this, which means it was a problem with getting the answer. The illness itself may not be a problem. Second is that I asked them, what do you think is the root cause of it? Why am I getting it? And they said they don't know. So when they don't know the root cause, then obviously they don't know the solution, right? But because your doctors don't know the solution doesn't mean that you don't have to have a solution. And look everywhere I don't even know how many doctors I have met. I have met doctors in 2 countries and multiple cities. And I just kept looking for an answer because I refuse to believe that I will not get better. I refuse to. A lot of people said, oh my God, God is punishing you. I think God is very kind. I love God. God loves me. So there's no way God is punishing me. So God is not punishing me. So I have to have an answer. I looked at yoga. I looked at meditation. I looked at Ayurveda. I looked at, the regular general allopathy medicine that's there. I looked at magnetic therapies. I looked at everything because I have to get better. And don't go with blind faith in anything. I also didn't. But for me, yoga meditation was a game changer. Pranic healing is an energetic form of healing. It was a game changer. I've had people laugh at me saying that you are such an educated person. How do you believe in something like pranic healing? And I'm like, I don't have to believe in gravity. Gravity is there. And I've experienced it when I fell from a height. Similarly, I don't have to believe in pranic healing because I have experienced it and it's gotten me better. So whatever helps you, just go for it. Even if somebody says it's a placebo, it's okay. It's getting you better, right? Do it. So just do whatever works for you. listen to your body, and try everything, not with a blind faith, but keep trying. You never know what works for you. And things work. I'm a living example of a miraculous healing. I was told I'll be stuck in bed and in the wheelchair. People were shocked. Doctors were stunned when I was walking and taking stairs.
And along the way, I think you and I, we have spoken a bit about this element of it. Is about care, right? You went through what you went through, and it would have been impossible for you to kind of be here at this point of time without having that care. How did your lived experience redefine what care means to you?
I don't think I've used the care so much as a word in my life as I have after I've fallen sick. And that's not just physical care, but it's emotional care. It's just people standing by you. And it's what it means in your life. So a lot of people see me as the face of inspiration, but it's my mom, my dad, my sister, my friends, my mentors, all of them. And they have poured in a lot of care, a lot of care. My sister has quit her job multiple times. She has changed career tracks. I mean, not completely, but yeah, I mean, she did not follow a simple career track, which would have helped her, but she decided to care. And it's very difficult to be a caregiver because the person that's in front of you wants to do their best for you. They want you to recover, but they very often don't know what to do.
Wow.
They don't even know the boundaries. So you as a person, okay, this is my boundary. Or, maybe tomorrow I can try a little bit more because you really know your body. But others, your caregivers don't. So they feel really helpless, much more than you do. I think being helpless is one of the worst emotional space to be in.
Tell me a bit more about it.
Like, let's say your mom comes and says, oh, I wish I could take your pain away, but she really doesn't know how to, right? Let's say she can't do the breathing exercise for me. She can't, the doctors are not being too helpful. I mean, they don't know what to do next. So medically, she doesn't know what to do. But the only thing she can do is sit by my side, which helps me emotionally. But she only wants to think about my physical pain and take it away. And she doesn't know what to do. I know that I can breathe and I can feel better, but that's my doing. The doctor is trying to, and for the doctor, very rightly so, I am one of the many patients. For my mom, for my sister, I am the only sister.
You're the one.
Yeah, I'm the one. And even for a lot of my friends, and I'm very blessed to have them, I'm one of the closest people. So their sense of being helpless is far worse. And then they don't know.
And does that feeling, that process make it harder for you? Does it kind of alienate you, make you a lot more lonelier? How do you kind of, you are having your own journey, your own struggle. On top of it, you also see that, and unfortunately, we don't have a care manual, a care playbook for people to say, this is how I need to operate. So does that make your job that much more harder?
It's yes and no, both. I think what you asked me, right? Like, how did I not choose resignation? It's easier to resign when you're alone. Even when, it's a motivating factor. Because one of the reasons that I can't resign or I don't feel like I want to resign is because I'm not alone. There's so many people and they are not just, being there for me to encourage me, but they're fighting it out with me. And that includes my friends as well. Like, let's say taking me out to a restaurant when most things are inaccessible. It's not easy, but they will spend so much effort and, they will put it all in, they will find the place, they will figure it out. All of that matters. So when there's so many people with you, I believe in the power of people. So that's really, really easy to push yourself a little bit more. But what does happen is, even though it's not your fault that you're sick, but you still feel like for something that has happened to you, especially for your family, it's affecting the family so much in so many ways. including financially, because medical expenses are so high. There are times when you feel like I have to figure this out. I have to do it for them. It's so I can't see them like that anymore.
One thing I must say for somebody who's kind of gone through what you've gone through, to have that kind of an attitude, that upbeatness, that energy all the time, hats off to you.
I guess I was always a little, and I liked having fun. And that's what I said, like, when I was falling sick, I said, you know what? I can fall sick. That's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but okay, we'll figure that out.
You know?
And there's pain. So we'll figure it out. I can't move. We'll figure it out. I refuse to not have fun. I will continue to have fun. Fun is important. We do fun. So one thing that changed is that when I was in the Netherlands, like I said, around the time I was 30, and I had already started falling sick before I went there. I just didn't know it was going to like blow up, but it was like a gradual process. So it was already 28, 29 when I was falling sick. Then I went there and things deteriorated and nobody knew what to do. The diagnosis was not in yet. It took 3-4 years for me to get diagnosed. And one day things were so bad. There was an emergency paramedics who came over, and they have the best doctors for the emergency treatment when they come in with the ambulances and everything. So it's not just a paramedic, it's also a very good medic and most experienced usually. And she left the room saying, next time, like, we need to call, we would actually take you straight to the hospital. She wanted to do that right away, but I was like, can we wait and see? So, that way. And before leaving, so she said that we're going straight to the hospital. And honestly, it looks like, so she thought I would be dead. And then a few other doctors were like, okay, this looks like really fatal. Me being practical saved me because I kept asking them, I think if we'll all die, do you know when am I dying? And they said, no, but it could be any time. I said, yeah, that's like something even I could have guessed. And then I said, do you know the root of my problem? Because I was still without the diagnosis at that time. And they said, no. And I said, if you don't know the diagnosis, then you can't give me a prediction of death. Like, it's more like you can't do and you don't know. And maybe that's why I'll die. But then you don't really know. And they're not very happy hearing it, but they kept saying, this might be it. So when that paramedic left my room that day, I was home alone and I was trying to sleep. And I thought, if this is my last night, how does that look? And I was like, not bad at all. But I just want to be with my family and I want to be with my friends. And so many times I have missed their calls because, I was busy working or something like that. And funnily, I did not think about that work at all. I couldn't even remember most of the work that I was hanging up for. I was preparing for a PhD at that time. I did not even think of my proposal, my PhD, whatever it is that I thought is going to change the world. None of that. I only kept thinking about my family and I was like, and I was like, do I really have to die in this cold country? Can I not be a little warmer? And can I not be with my family? Can I not be with my friends? And people say, what do you regret? One of the things that I regretted was, I wish I had danced a little bit more. It was never my profession. It was always a hobby. But I was like, I didn't realize I love it so much. I wish I had done that a little bit more. And I wish I had gone to have more picnics, attended more weddings, which I did not for, work. And it's funny, but I suddenly thought about all the things I wish I had done. One of the things was also, I wish I had said sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. And, stuff like that. So I was like, that stayed with me. And that has been with me all these years. So every time my goal is when I go to sleep at night, and if that's my last night, how bad is it?
What a powerful reminder to everybody listening to this. It's kind of, if this is your last night, live a life with no regrets. And what you don't want to do is not to have anybody go through that experience to realize that. What you're kind of sharing is a lived experience. That's not a lived experience somebody need to go through to have that realization. So, Somita, when I kind of talk about Zenica, what comes to your mind?
So we design clothes very, very specifically adapted to different body types, uh, flexibility, the range of flexibility and mobility, and any other need that a person has in their everyday life. So we look at life phases and body types to design our clothes, and we adapt our clothes accordingly. So be it the mobility, be it, let's say, obesity. So all of it. And like you said, care is an important part of it. We also specially design for assisted wear. So when somebody else is helping you wear your garments, how to make that easier, how to make that painless for both the person wearing it and the caregiver.
I believe your partner in crime on this venture was your mom, and you started this venture at as little as 20,000 rupees.
We actually started at 6,000.
Oh,
Then
wow.
the next person gave us 15,000. And that's how 21 happened. And it was mom. And see, the money part was also it's kind of fun because we had spent every dime of our savings for my health. We had to do crowdfunding for my health. So all the people who knew us, they had already invested in me, so to say, right? So to go back to them and ask them to invest in the company would have been a stretch. And we had already spent everything. And, it's so easy to say, oh, we are a middle class person. That means nothing. Like in actual quantitative terms, the word middle class means nothing. And but we still have a similar kind of behavior. So it's so difficult. It was so difficult for me my parents also, like, we can't ask for money because that's a taboo in our society. So when my friends set up a crowdfunding, they were so overwhelmed. They were humbled and they were loved, and, they felt all of that, and they felt very blessed. And also starting a business meant that you are not earning directly from a job, like everyday salary is not coming. So all of those decisions made me believe that we'll start small if that's what we have to do. And we did that.
And you did that, and how rightly you took off with Zenica. And as you took off, what are some of the challenges building what you have built?
When we started as a bespoke wear, and we wanted to do that so that we learn more about the body's needs. I researched and tried to find answers for it. I couldn't find anything. So I straight away went to the community, spoke with them, and we started co-creating with them. Because see, everybody who's going through something has found some jugaad method of working something out. It may not be the best. So my job was to understand their solutions and make it better and make it more standardized and make it scalable. So I worked on those ways of doing things. Other than that, when we wanted to start scaling again, finances was a huge thing. We needed some funding, like every ad spent mattered and everything mattered. So that's been a challenge. The other challenge, like I said, accessibility, just to go to the regular places to buy your stuff. Raw materials, that's so easy to get otherwise. So, if we would go to a mentor and say, hey, I'm finding challenge in getting this, he would have never heard the challenge before from anybody. So it was a learning space for everyone. The other thing is, like, even now, I had to really change my mindset a lot to be comfortable doing this, because the expectation is to be the hustler, to work for 18 hours and 20 hours a day. And I was trying to do that because I thought that's the only way to do it. And I was just crashing. I kept physically crashing, which was worse than not being a hustler. So I had to really change my mindset. I think that was the biggest challenge. If you ask me, that was the biggest challenge. And it was not just my expectation, right? Like entire ecosystem expects that. So the challenge is this, my personal mindset, which is also a reflection of the societal mindset about being a hustler, but also the society thinking that, oh, if you can't do it this way, then you can't do it at all. Or I've been asked this so many times, oh, you have a disability. Are you sure that you can do this? I'm like, yes, I can. Not the way you think I will, but I can. More importantly, I have been asked, are you sure you're not a liability to your organization? Okay, yeah. I mean, I think the biggest challenge is people's mindsets of what a disability is or isn't. And they tend to see the person with the disability and identify with the disability at the same time. It's just a part of us, right? It's not the full thing. So, thinking that my challenge is a problem, I am totally with it. I agree with it. I face it and I say it too. But to think that I am the problem, I think I draw the line there.
He's getting a little too far.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't blame anyone. It's also the way we are put through school, like for anybody with a disability. Like even in my school, when I was a child, I was a non-disabled child. So I didn't see any child with a disability around me. And mostly they are put in the so-called quote unquote a special school. And the more I learned about the special schools and how they teach, etc., I was like, I think I would have learned more if I was in a special school because their teaching methods are so much better. But more importantly, out there in the world, there's nothing like a special world and a not so special world, right? So we are all together and we have not learned, our schools, our society has not taught us how to really learn about each other.
That's so true. And keeping the same spirit of mindset without framing it as charity. If we were to leverage this particular platform, Somita, how can this platform come and be of support or assistance in terms of collaboration or support that you're actively seeking? If you were to kind of call it out and ask the listeners out here.
Oh, this is a great platform. So I would love to reach out to anyone who wants to come in and join in, as a partner from various fields. Like I am looking out for a manufacturing partner here in the field. Come join in. We can do something together. Also I feel like everyone knows somebody who needs a comment like this. That's what I keep hearing every time I talk about it. So if you think you know someone who needs this, just tell them about us. I would love to know them as well. So, and if you have any better ideas, come and tell us how to make it better. What are you looking for? What else can we make? But yeah, let's partner up together, be it in an individual capacity. Even if you talk about us to somebody else, I would really hold that very dearly. Or if you can come together, like I said, one of the things we're looking for is manufacturing, and the other thing they're looking at is distribution. So if you want to be a partner in that, that would be lovely.
So there is a call out from a change maker. If somebody can want to join hands with a change maker, there's an opportunity to do so. With that said, Soumita, if I were to ask you, you were very strong-minded. You were able to kind of manage what life threw at you. But if somebody who is going to struggle, what would you say to them who are going through that pain? What would be your word of wisdom to them would be?
Okay, that's tough. But I think I'll start with saying don't try to be strong. It's overrated. There's no need to be strong. It's an exaggerated burden on us. And that's what I always advocate, that let's make our things around us designed in such a way. And design is like everything is design at the end of the day. Even your menu is a design, right? Food menu. So let's design things around us in such a way that everybody doesn't have to exert their strength. But so if you're going through it, it's not your problem alone. Reach out to people, I have learned one thing. There are more people waiting and willing to help than there are not. So all that's needed is that we need to learn how to ask for help. It's not easy. We're not taught that either. So please reach out for help. The other thing is, you know yourself, your life, your body, your mind better than anyone else. Trust yourself. Don't trust anyone else more than yourself, even if they come as experts. And I'm not saying anything wrong about experts, but they have an expertise over the field, but you have an expertise over you. And there has to be a kind of a marriage between the two. Emotions are very, very important. Have them, but don't stop being practical.
I think those are some wonderful call outs, Somita, that you shared here. One is being strong is overrated. How true it is. Trusting oneself. Asking for help. I think that's what lot many people shy away from, asking for help. It feels that okay, I'm burdening somebody by virtue of asking. No, you're helping somebody to be part of the journey that you're about to embark on. That's a great call out. And have emotions. How true it is. Why do you have to suppress those emotions? You didn't choose the way things panned out to be. So don't be guilty of it. Don't be sad about it, isn't it?
I would even say, sometimes even if we sometimes choose to do the wrong thing, and it could be our immaturity, it could be whatever it is, to learn to be emotional about them too and sort of face it and say, I was immature. I did what I knew best. I was wrong and I forgive myself and move from that point on.
Lovely. Savita, as we draw to a close in this conversation, I would want to draw two or three insights from you. One insight your journey has clarified for you. What would that be?
You're never alone.
And one small reflection that our listeners can try this week.
Okay, so I'll actually give you two. One that I've already given, so I'm going to repeat that, which is, if at the end of the day, you're happy with what you've done with that day, overall, I mean, of course, we will have to-do lists for the next day. I'm not talking about that, but if that was your last, are you okay with it? That's a good, for me, I have had a good time with that reflection. And the other is kind of pretty much, helps this reflection, which is, do what you can do with what you have, where you are, but do it now. Don't wait for the next perfect moment of your life, because that perfect moment doesn't arrive. So I started with 6,000. You can start with 600 if you want, and do what you have, which also is like, sometimes we say that, oh, it's so bad that I couldn't give my 100%, but maybe you did. Your 100% every day is not the same. Your 100% at 103 temperature and your 100% at a normal temperature is not the same. So, be good that way. But keep doing, even if you're inching. And I have been there. I have been inching sometimes, but I have moved that inch.
Do something. Keep the momentum going. That's the message out there, my dear listeners. And innovation that was born from your personal experience, but you have taken it beyond innovation, Somita. You have given us a lot to kind of think over, a lot to be grateful for, and a lot to kind of make a difference by just shifting our mindsets.
Yeah, that's the hardest one though, but yeah.
So true. So before you and I sign off, Somita, what is your Inspire Someone Today message to all of our listeners?
Oh my God, I often feel like I'm nobody to give anybody a message, but if you have something, just share it. And even if that's a problem, so share the good things in your life and share the tough things in your life. And you will see that there's so many people who are really, really good. I feel the world around us is much better than what the media has it believing.
That's absolutely true. The world around is so much nicer, so much brighter than what we think it is. There is hope, there is love, There is lot more. There's lot of care. On that note, Soumita, thank you so much for being part of the Changemaker series and sharing such wonderful story of your own personal journey and making it impactful to me and my business. Appreciate your time and joining us.
Same here. Thank you. Thank you so very much. And I have personally experienced so much real, true, warm love from absolute strangers that I cannot be more grateful. So thank you, everyone. And I'm looking forward to know more people through this channel.
Absolutely. So on that note, my dear listeners, until next time, keep inspiring. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Inspire Someone Today. This is Srikanth, your host, signing off. Until next time, continue to carry the ripples of inspiration. Stay inspired, keep spreading the light.